Kobe. Kobe. Come on, Kobe. We're going to do a little art show first. I don't know if anybody's here. Hold on, let me see. Good. There's nobody here. Kobe, look. All right. Now, this is very important. This piece of the carving. So is this piece. This is what, okay, what do you see there? Huh? Right? That's the totemic edge. Right? Right, Kobe? Okay. Oh, holy Moses. Okay. So I've decided to turn on the iPad. It's not a phone, it's an iPad that I'm using out here. Anytime because I listen to things, I learn by listening. I've learned to learn by listening. And yes, by seeing, but more seeing metaphorically. So that's why, like, I can, like, my eyes are closed now. This is part of the reason why I like wearing my carving glasses when I do these streams. Part of it is to protect me from the sun and the elements and bugs, and to keep some semblance of privacy and boundaries, but also so that I can, like, close my eyes. Yeah, because as a stutterer, as a little kid, I learned that if I closed my eyes and I breathed, I could talk. So I learned to close my eyes. This is why remote work sometimes works for me. Phone calls, people that know me, I'll tell them, hey, I'm actually listening. Like when I close my eyes, I'll close my eyes. There was a period of time when COVID happened, I was doing a lot of Zoom calls. I had been doing a lot of in-person work, and then all of a sudden it was all the Zoom weirdness, right? And so, yeah, and so people learned me. They knew that when I closed my eyes, it meant that I was trying to see something. I was listening and trying to see into something. So anyway, okay. So what I decided is that because I've made a commitment to myself to do this consistently, um, to the extent that it keeps on serving me and what I'm trying to do, which is educate and uplift others and provide whatever insights I have to share them without too much attachment to like what anyone else is doing, more about sharing a little bit of my insight into what I'm thinking. And so, okay, let me see. What did I title this? It's pDAI Bear Narrative Power. Yes. So pDAI Bear Narrative Power. Okay, that's the first theme. The second is, and I'm reading, I'm reading my notes, what I called it. Second is pulse chain legal certainty. Hells yeah, I'm going to start there. That's the thing that I don't think people fully appreciate about pulse chain yet. The pDAI bear narrative, it's got power on its own, but then when we combine it with the pulse chain legal certainty that's coming, it's not there yet. People think it's there, but it's not there yet. Um, and then what's the third thing? Eros 100x gem. Oh yeah, easy. That last one's easy. 100x for Eros, market cap wise, means probably, I would say about 300 users, 300 investors, and then that's an easy 100x, maybe 500, but probably in the highly volatile speculative bull run that we're about to go into, given the liquidity situation, low liquidity, and yeah, that means a like a $30 million Eros. Yeah, if we have 300 to 500 investors, sure, that's easy. And if I'm consistent, if we're consistent, that'll be easy. Okay, what else? So that's the end. pDAI, bear, narrative power. Oh yeah, okay. So pDAI, the story about pDAI is huge. I heard the story years ago. I bought pDAI, I sold pDAI, and right now the narrative about the value of pDAI to the pulse chain ecosystem is huge and growing. And I don't see and the narrative is that pDAI is intended as a decentralized, permissionless stablecoin that's native to pulse chain, and that somehow the narrative goes is a integration of efforts between MakerDAO and pmaker con ecosystem on pulse chain, some sort of coordination between that entity and rumor mill, hyperloop, Binance, CZ, Richard Hart. So there's like three players in the pDAI narrative, and it's not just pDAI. It's where pDAI mixes Bear and the Atropa ecosystem, right? And the role of pDAI for pulse chain and potentially cross chain, and also the role of the Atropa ecosystem in that whole dynamic. And for my interest, Bear, Teddy Bear, OG Teddy Bear, and the role that Teddy Bear plays, both in the Atropa ecosystem, which, as I read it, is more like a mycelial. It's like mycelium. It's designed to biomimic a web. Now, people will argue about how Atropa Dev has delivered on Atropa. What I see is that the narrative of pDAI and then Bear has a lot of juice to it. It's got a lot of juice, and that's why I like it. I don't know if pDAI it's hard for me to see pDAI pegging to $1 soon, though that's what people are saying. It's hard for me to see that. I think it's too heavy a coin. There's too many, like if that happens fast, that pDAI goes, and I heard someone say this, but if that happens fast, like there are going to be people up 10,000x, like OG holders of pDAI, true believers are going to have like huge gains and they're going to sell into that. So unless there's some way to incentivize the pDAI holders, which is part of what is going on behind the scenes, it's hard for me to see it pegging if that's going to happen quickly, unless the big holders of pDAI, the token, are incentivized not to sell it somehow. And that's where the mystery is fun. I don't know what the answer is, but if I were betting on a narrative over the next 3, 6, 9 months, so I've taken a little bite back into pDAI, and I've bought about a month ago because I saw this coming, right? I saw it coming, not just because I saw it, but because if you're listening to the space, we can hear and we can see what's happening. And for me, this goes to so the pDAI bear narrative power is huge, and I want to be part of that wave. How I'm doing it is getting small pieces of bear and pDAI and pairing it with my Eros, right? So I'm pairing Eros with strength in pDAI for speculative opportunity, and for bear because I think bear has an important role potentially relating to pDAI. I don't know what it is, but I'm starting to see the possibility that bear has a role both in the Atropa ecosystem, both as a backing asset, as a collateral asset of sorts to like treasury bill, right? Or Fed or something like that, right? So bear has some utility in the Atropa ecosystem. Maybe it also has some utility in the pDAI. But the point is, I like pairing my Eros with bear and with pDAI. Also with Lotus and Eden, and I'm hoping Flare and Smoke. And once I understand like the Titanx tokens that really want to be on Pulse Chain and grow the Titanx on Pulse Chain narrative, grow the index, right? So anyway, so that's pDAI bear. Next is Pulse Chain legal certainty. Oh yeah. So yeah, once I've been following this very closely from the beginning. Once I saw that Richard Hart, Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex beat the SEC outright. Note, it wasn't a settlement, it was a defeat. Right? And that was almost like, what's the date? July 3rd. Yeah, I think in 2 more days. There's no more SEC oversight authority. The case is done. I think until July 5th, it's open to administrative action, which could be an appeal. It could be, I don't know. But I think it's open to, and probably also open, though I haven't looked this deep, it's probably open to some sort of, it's open to an action. It's probably either an administrative appeal or it may be a request for public comment. So there may be a public comment time. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I do know that on July 6th, Pulse Chain, PulseX, Hex, and Richard Hart, the individual, those four entities are free from all of the allegations and all of the regulatory overreach, which is huge. It's huge because it provides legal certainty in an environment where legal certainty is really important, particularly for capital, even little capital like me. Like, I knew 2 months ago when there became legal almost certainty, I was like, oh, it's time to migrate back to Pulse Chain, right? That's capital coming back in. I left in part because of the legal uncertainty. Now, I didn't leave all my capital, but I left paying attention to it. I needed to focus elsewhere because I knew that it was going to be a rough time for Pulse Chain, right? So when there's legal certainty in a very uncertain regulatory regime globally, it's very hard to navigate the global regulatory regime and be in compliance with US regulators that we have been totally non-negotiably confusing and weak as a regulatory agency. I mean, the SEC, and not just the SEC, has been horrible. And it's not one administration, or no, this is like systemic rot. Okay. So the point is that for Pulse Chain, let's just talk about Pulse Chain right now and why legal certainty for Pulse Chain is so important. Because even more than for Richard Hart, the individual, actually PulseX is very important too. Hex is less important to me, but from the perspective of the blockchain and the viability of the blockchain to attract capital and to have legal certainty, it's huge. Which is why I think when there's legal certainty, assuming there are a few technical upgrades, which I think will be coming along with marketing and along with commitment to technical upgrades and along with, partnering with critical blue chip protocols, like all that needs to happen in a community centric way. But the truth is that what I think we're going to see is the owners of the protocols, the owners of the platform. And that means the validators, people who are vested in validating 50,000 of them, plus Richard Hart with his ownership of a lot of the supply, as well as all of these sacrifice funds. So the thing is that what anyone who, including me, that participated in the sacrifice, part of what we needed to do was to release any expectation of profit from the work of another. I sent my hex to a sacrifice wallet, right? And so we had to relinquish legal expectation of profit. And that actually was Richard's and his lawyers' trap. It was the first step of the trap that they set for the regulators. There was a second trap, but I saw the first one, which was what I would call an affirmative defense. Having someone like me sign something before I sent it off, the sacrifice off, and say, yes, this is for freedom of speech. Yes, this is for freedom of assembly. Yes, this is what it's there for. And it's for the code. I really believed it. And so I did it. I did, and I knew that I would receive an airdrop. I didn't know how much. I knew I would receive an airdrop, but the expectation was it would be worth zero. Why? Because that's what Richard Hart told everybody. He actually set it up to create an affirmative defense. It was brilliant. at first I was like, why would he do this? And then I was like, oh, this is an affirmative defense against the allegation that it's a security. So that was the first thing about the legal uncertainty. So anyway, so so capital wants legal certainty in a very uncertain world, especially at the chain level. I mean, on the protocol level also, right? You want legal certainty, you want tech security, you want integrity of the ownership group, right? There's some fundamentals. And now Pulse Chain has legal certainty after July 5th, and that's huge. Even the Interpol stuff, that's personal. That doesn't affect, I mean, it affects the person, right? I don't know what that's about, but in terms of the chain and the assets and the ability of capital to trust that this decentralized blockchain is not a security, that's huge. And the assets are not security. I think is going to happen is there's going to be a confluence of the pDAI narrative. We're going to see, is Binance involved? I have no idea. But there are some indicators. There are some indicators. I even thought way back when I was thinking about how might Binance get involved, because one of the things about Richard Hart principally is he was not willing to pay the centralized exchanges. That's why he got blacklisted. He wasn't willing to pay. He wasn't willing to pay to get Hex, and so he built Hex all on chain. That's why Hex was an innovator, is all on chain. It's like the first big win swap. And so the regulatory, yeah, so my question is, I remember thinking back then, and I heard rumors back then that the way, so Richard said, I'm not paying them. I'm not giving them a sweetheart market maker deal just to get my coin on, Binance. I'm not doing that. So the way that Binance got in, most likely, is to become part of the validator node set, to have Pulse Chain and, be making profits and generating supply. Because the truth is, there's no way to get Pulse Chain other than buying it off the market or validating and getting paid to validate. That's just how Richard Hart rolls. That's the only way in. He wasn't willing. So I wonder if Binance, and I really don't know, actually has a vested interest in Pulse Chain. I suspect they do. I don't know exactly how. There's part of the narrative, the rumor suggests that, all the Hyperloop, infinity signs, and all of this smoke screen from Richard Hart and from Binance and all the hints mean something. I don't really know. I mean, Binance has been hinting like the logo of PulseX, and they've been hinting Hyperloop, and I'm hearing that Hyperloop, is one of the contributors to getting the peg, but we just don't know. But when we combine that and all the attention it's starting to get with legal certainty and capital flow back into Pulse Chain with you, I think what we're seeing is, and what I'm looking forward to, is a bottoming out of Pulse Chain. It's bottomed out. Maybe it's going to hit a double bottom again. Maybe it's got more down. I have no idea. But I do believe that starting on July 6th, there's going to be a marketing effort from Richard and his team. Even though Richard is saying, I want my community to do the marketing, I think he's got a marketing plan. I also suspect that there's a tech upgrade plan. I don't know what it is, but they have talked about a vertically integrated super app and a wallet and stable coins. And so let's see. Let's see if Pulse Chain can step up. But because I'm already there, I'm betting a small piece of my portfolio back on Pulse Chain because I think it has exponential growth potential. And the last thing, and then what time is it? Oh yeah, I gotta go. I have 5 minutes. The last thing is why Eros? As what I'll say is that Eros for me was the answer to my question to myself, which was what am I going to do to get back to Pulse Chain? How am I going to use my moon bags of pDAI, Atropa, Bear, Pulse, Pulse X? I sold almost everything from Pulse X at a good time to like secure the value once I realized that everyone and the chain was going to be attacked, right? And so I felt fortunate that I got out relatively early, but I kept moonbags there. And my question was, and this was about 2 months ago, I was asking myself, all right, I think once I saw the legal certainty coming, I was like, I think there's going to be a Pulse Chain bull run in about, and then Eros came. This guy, Peter, proposed the Eros plan to me and to us. And the basic idea is let's revive build on Titanx tokens by bridging them over, creating scarcity on Ethereum, and let's give them utility in the Eros web. Let's build a Titanx and Eros and Pulse Chain liquidity web, and let's revive the bot coins, the build on Titanx bot coins. And so that's why we started with my two coins that I felt were dead, which is Lotus and Eden, and we have given new life to them. And it's early, but we have definitely given new life to them, and we've created scarcity on Ethereum and demand now. Why? Because they're connected to Eros, and Eros is the magnet for us on Pulse Chain. Why? Because Eros is a fork of PTGC, and Eros has a crazy assertive idea guy and whale holder, this guy Peter. He's just one of a decentralized team, but this was his idea that's then he's been giving to people, including me, and we've been creating our own journey out of it. I'm doing my own thing. No one controls my bags. There is nobody in charge. I'm in charge of my sort of not my of my LP pairs, right? And so that's why I like it. And so for me, a community takeover of a protocol that is a PTGC clone and that right now has probably a $300,000 market cap. If we really look at the circulating and potential circulating supply of it. So it's got $300,000 market cap. If you look on Dex Screener, it's like 1.5 million or something. It's not. That's based on the total supply. That most of that supply is probably in dead Titanx wallets, right? Part of my job is to wake people up and say, look, if you have Eros in your wallet, pay attention. Maybe it's worth something. Either sell it and give it to the LP or invest it, hold on to it, right? But it was a totally fair launch. It was an airdrop to 10,000 liquid Titanx holders. I would say right now about 50 of them are awake wallets, maybe 100. So we'll see. So Eros got gifted to me, and then I got this idea from the universe, and it coincided with me wanting to come back to Pulse Chain, and I had carved the Eros totem, right? I think I have to go get the Eros totem now. Hold on, let me show you. People be like, what? All right. This thing is huge. Okay. It's huge. This, oh, you probably can't see it. This, see it? See, I'm forcing Eros on everybody. A lot of people are afraid of Eros. Um, that's just all projection. Okay. So, yeah, so for me, 100x on Eros feels easy because it's a fundamentally sound protocol with a diamond hand holder group. And pretty much all we need to do is go from maybe 50 active wallets to 500 within a year. And better to have people that understand the protocol, that want to invest in a decentralized community initiative that actually also has, in my opinion, huge exponential growth potential, right? It's literally only 10 weeks old. I mean, the contract has been around for over a year, but it's 10 weeks old. And we've already got it paired with, I think, 55 other tokens, like 30 from Titan X Ethereum and 20 from Pulse Chain, something like that. It's crazy. And now the challenge is the next level is to deepen critical pools, right? Which is why we see actually all the pools that I'm in, the only ones that I'm in right now are the ones that are getting critically deep, that I think can attract new investors. The Eros Bear pool. You see how I did that? The pDAI Bear narrative power, that was the first thing. And then the last thing with Eros, it's all connected. So Eros, I like Eros right away. I was like, ooh, I want to pair Eros with my Bear. That LP was there. That's going to be a great LP. Bear is a very light coin now. It'll be the #1 meme on, especially if there's any truth that, it's Richard Hart's teddy bear. I mean, are you kidding me? Bear is like, it's a $10 million market cap coin. I mean, I was in it early on when it was 60 million. It's down. I mean, it got decimated. It's not heavy. It's light and has huge potential. And that's why Eros Bear pair is hot, probably even hotter than the Eros pDAI pair. The Eros pDAI pair is going to be very volatile, right? Because pDAI is going to be crazy volatile. Imagine what would happen, if pDAI goes to $1, I mean, it'll be great to be part of that pair, right? Because it's going to, and the beauty is all of that volatility is good for the Eros token, the Eros protocol, the Eros fee sharing, dynamics, because every buy and sell in all that volatility, 2% of it goes to buying and burning the Eros token that's already scarce. 1% goes into the LP pool with Eros and Pulse, and 2% goes to stakers and lockers, right? It's killer. Yeah. I like it. And I also like that it's very early, and that uh that a lot of people don't want to mention it. Like there's a and I've heard people on and this is important just to air. I hear people on Tight Neck saying, uh, I don't endorse Eros. I'm like, who's asking for an endorsement? You could say, I hold Eros or I don't. Or you could say, oh, you know what? I have a real problem with Eros. Here's my problem with it. Here's why it sucks. Here's why, like, real data based critique, as opposed to, oh, no, I just don't endorse it. No one's asking for endorsement, right? This is a community initiative that is no one's asking permission. This is permissionless DeFi. I don't have to ask permission. I'm not looking for endorsements. I'm actually looking for collaborations, right? That's how we uplift everybody. And if people, for whatever reason, are afraid, that's okay too, right? So the thing is that um, there is okay, so 100x Eros should be easy if if we continue to educate, if we continue to build a user group that likes Eros and that likes to play the LP building game. Because Eros, like PTGC, is a utility token for a liquidity web, right? Eros, the intent of it is to be the foundation of a web and the beneficiary of all the buys and sells. That's why not all the pools need to be deep. Some of the pools need to be deep in order for big players to get in and out, but not all the pools need to be deep in order for the LP web to be functioning well. Um, so yeah, anyway, all right. That's let's see. I wish there was some dialogue here. It's hard for me to keep on talking midday. I should probably stop anyway. Mm. If there's anybody that's actually watching, I can't even tell. If there's anybody that's watching that has a constructive critique or a question or a dialogue, come on. Come on. Anybody there? Gonna leave me hanging like that? You gonna have me talking to myself like that? It's not right. All right. I'll let it go for like about 7 more minutes. Maybe talk about art, health, wealth. Oh, okay. So let me just tell you, this is I sort of live on this stuff. It's water, well water. I've got wells here. I feel very fortunate that I have a few wells on this land. Mm. Fresh water is very important. I mean, I live in cities too. I mean, right now I'm up here. I'm living in the middle of nowhere. Mostly to take care of my son and to sort of, yeah, yeah, to grow up my son is why I came here. Yeah, because this was the best place to do it. Mm. So water, lemon or lime. And if I don't have a lemon or lime, I'll squeeze some sort of fruit. Like there's a lot of fruit around here. There's like a lot of natural fruit without having to plant it. This is like the fruit bread basket of the Hudson Valley, north of New York City. Somewhat, it's like basically along the Hudson River. There's a Hudson River Valley on both sides of the Hudson River. On the west side of the river, there's the Catskill Mountains. Beautiful, unbelievably beautiful mountains and mountain streams, and friends that come visit. I used to live over there. Friends that would come visit and tell me that it looked like Hawaii, that they had never seen such beautiful waterfalls. And right, so there's that on the west side of the river, the Catskills. I love that. And then on the east side of the valley, so on the west side, it's there's like flatlands and then mountains, and on the east side, there's a big ridge. It's a ridge, and it's a river valley. It's the alluvial plain. It's very fertile land. And because the glaciers went through this land, they went all the way down the Hudson River down to Brooklyn. And then when the glaciers melted, and there's definitely striations, like I see all this stuff, right? And so when the glaciers retreated, they left really deep aquifers, which is why this is why we've been able to support so many people in the New York metropolitan area. Is it's the secret is the water in the Catskills, right? And also the water on our side of the river, which makes this a crazy fertile place. And so there's fruit and vegetables and you know animals, and like most people have left, right? Most people in this area have left because it's very hard to make a living in rural upstate New York, right? A lot of young people leave and they go to cities or they go away to school, and so they leave. But I think what we're going to see is increasing demand for fresh water and sustainable agriculture and off-grid living. And the question is, how do you scale that, right? How do you scale that? Like right now, one of the things that I'm doing is helping people who are, because I'm still a New Yorker at heart, man. I'm most comfortable in Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, right? Took me a while to accept being up here. So part of what I do is I help people who are in the city who are like, oh man, gotta get out. I'm like, yeah. So anyway, all right, where were we? Oh, okay. So art, health, wealth. Oh yeah. So yeah. So water, lemon, or another fruit, and salt, sea salts. I import that. I try to get almost everything that I eat locally. I don't always do that, but almost everything I eat comes local. I like that. Except when I'm in the city. When I'm in the city, I shop at a regular grocery store. Here I shop at farms and I have trading stuff with people, and there's meat, there's cheese, there's greens, there's like everything you need, and you can pay for it or you can do the barter economy up here. The barter economy, like trading stuff, people don't do it, but I do it. I'm like, here, I got this. What do you got? And there was a period of time where I had a lot of carvings and I just needed to give them away. So I gave away a big carving for a cow once, and to a farmer, I was like, look, I need meat. And he was like, I'll give you a cow for that carving. And I was like, great, as long as you like cut it up and like deliver it to me. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So yeah. So okay, and the role that crypto plays in all of this is I use crypto. It's not like I'm the best crypto person, by the way. I just, I have learned from experience. I'm way better now than I was when I started in 2017. What is it, 2025 now? So that's 8 years. Yeah, I started probably right at the end of 2016. I started because I was tired of watching my brother make so much money in Bitcoin. I thought, all right, I need to do something similar. And I saw Ethereum at like, I don't even want to tell you how little it was when I first saw it. I think it was like 30 cents. And then I saw it at $30 also. I didn't buy Ethereum probably until it was $100 or something, but I saw it really early. And I knew the guy, or he says I was the first professional money into Ethereum. So he got some of the original Ethereum. He's not in it anymore. A lot of those guys all got out. Those were like the VCs. Those are like the professional money. They all compete. He competed. They compete with each other. They want to be the first professional money in, right? Typically, the in schemes like that, it's typically first in means first out, 10x. So whatever it's like, right? I think he probably did more than a 10x. I'm pretty sure he did more than a 10x in Ethereum. And actually, now that I think about it, he's an investor guy. He was the one that said, because I was like, all right, how do I get involved in crypto? My brother, uh, he didn't really know how to guide me 100% because he knew what he knew, and I couldn't like find the guidance from my brother. Um, at the time, he was like a Bitcoin head and a trader, and I couldn't get with the trading thing, and so I had a hard time learning from my brother. But what I learned from my brother first was like the macro cycles and the trends. My brother is a really good trend spotter, and he's not in crypto now, but I'll still always go back to him to look at the macro cycles and the trends, and he's really good at that. He's a trend spotter, and he knows where we are. Um, so anyway, the connection. Oh yeah, so I've learned a lot in years of crypto, and the connection is like I'm not a libertarian, but I'm a freedom maxi. Freedom and responsibility. They go together. So when I say freedom, I also mean responsibility. But I'm a freedom maxi, meaning that I'll fight to the death to retain my freedom, literally and metaphorically, right? And so, and that's where crypto comes in. And that's where decentralized finance and the aspiration that I have, which is not what everyone has. Not everybody, is going to aspire to what I'm aspiring to, but I am aspiring. I've been working on it for a while, which is rely a lot less on fiat. Only use fiat, which in my case is dollars or any other government currency, only when necessary. Just because all of the fiat currencies at this point are tainted and and I'm not feeling it. No disrespect to any fiat currency. I'm just not feeling it at this point in my life. I will use them to the extent that they help me and my family to survive and thrive, right? So I've always like paid bills in dollars. I've got mortgages in dollars. I now turn crypto into dollars. It's not like that I don't believe in dollars. It's just that what I'm interested is doing my own finance. It's more like I want to be my own bank. And that's why I love Ouroboros, because I see it as my cosmic app on the blockchain. And I also like Eros because it's fully automated, and now I see it's hyper deflationary. I can just interact with the smart contract and be part of a fee sharing protocol. I can buy and sell it. I can hold it. I can make passive income. I get to do it. Me, self custody on the blockchain, interacting with smart contracts. And I've always had this idea that once I started to do it, I thought I could do it faster than it's taken me, but I've had to learn from experience, like how not to get wrecked. Like the critical teaching of DeFi the last 8 years is how not to get wrecked. I could give you 1,000 1,000 ways how to avoid getting wrecked in DeFi. But for me, and this is why I'm starting to speak publicly like this, I'm really doing this for myself first so that I can articulate what I'm thinking. I really wanted a dialogue in a community, but there is no community really in crypto like that to have a full-on dialogue. They're really polarized, decentralized, male-oriented, imbalanced dialogue spaces, right? I haven't found a really healthy one yet, and I've been around since 2016, right? And so what this is an opportunity just for me to do my own thing and to be the freedom maxi and to be able to, like, I started to share my what was true for me in one of those last tight neck spaces, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm good. I don't need to be talking anymore because people didn't want to hear what I had to say, and they said, hey, Chiz, you've got your own forum. You can go do your own thing. We don't want to hear that. That's FUD. I'm like, oh, so you don't really want to know the truth. You just want to know some Pollyanna-ish version because, like, you want to market, something. I'm like, no, that's not how I roll. So that's why I have surrendered to the culture, but I refuse to accept not being free and speaking my mind and focusing on investor centric education and helping each individual that might come to make personal decisions for self that's good for self and family. That's it. I have no attachment in anyone else doing anything. Nothing. I'm not attached to it at all. I'm mostly attached to when there's a problem, separating the person from the problem and addressing the problem in a dialogue, right? Because as the mediator in me, I know that human beings tend to see the same situation from diametrically opposed perspectives, and there is no one truth. There's as many people as there are involved, there are that many truths. And in each human, there are multiple conflicting truths. So, pDAI, bear, narrative power. Did I communicate about that? Yeah, it's huge. And I think it's going to be huger. The trend coming is, and there's going to be an like a lot of voices saying pDAI is going to $1 and a lot saying it's a scam. Watch. Okay, it's like competing narratives, right? And I'm like, wow, okay, that's good for my coins. That's good because if you look, pDAI is like up like 17x off its bottom. That's huge. Lotus is up 12% off its bottom. Eden is up 8% off its bottom. I mean, Eros is up, I don't even know what it's up off its bottom. You know, it's probably up 5x since I've started to think about it. And so what we're going to see is an exponential alt cycle that's going to be hugely explosive. It's going to surprise us all. I know it's going to surprise me, but it is going to be explosive. Explosive to the upside, explosive to the downside, explosive to the upside, explosive to the downside. And Bitcoin has been dominant for a long time. And all of the writing is on the wall that Ethereum's time is coming. All of it. And because Pulse Chain is a full system state copy of Ethereum and it has legal certainty, I think what's going to happen is the wave of capital that's coming into Ethereum in the form of stable coins, in the form of speculative assets, in the form of EFTs that's coming on chain to Ethereum is huge. Yes, there will be some spillover to Sonic. And yes, there will be spillover to AVAX. And yes, there will be spillover to maybe Base. We'll see if Base can keep, attracting. I think it can, but we'll see. So we'll see where capital flows. It's going to flow. It's already flowing into Ethereum. It's already started. And a lot more is going to flow. And once all this like risk on mentality takes hold, right? And that's where I want to be positioned on Ethereum. I'm very happy to be positioned on Ethereum with my Ouroboros and my Titan-X. My Titan-X and on Ouroboros is positioned beautifully. I'm not moving it. Ouroboros and Titan-X on Ethereum, and wherever Ouroboros goes, I'm happy with. Everything else of substance, I have moved my attention over to Pulse Chain because I understand Pulse Chain. I see the narratives. I can place my bets in a responsible way for me and my family and friends. Right? And now I get to talk about it. My son is a little worried about me. He's like, Dad, I see you talking at your iPad a lot. He's like, once, and I'm like, don't worry about me, man. I'm like, have a lot of time in nature and a lot of time with people. This is my opportunity to put on my headset. And he was like, no, it's you and your crypto imaginary friends. And so he's right. He's right. But that's what happens in a bull cycle, right? And so my commitment to myself and to the critical assets that I'm going to educate about, right, is consistency. I'm going to, over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, it may not be this frequency, but I am committed to educating about Ouroboros, and the growth of Ouroboros in the next period of time is going to be stunning. I'm going to follow that. Same with pDAI, Bear, Pulse Chain, Pulse X, Inc. It's going to be huge, I think. And all of that, right at the center of that storm is Eros. Eros is going to be the surprise thoroughbred that is very light. Eros is right now a fee sharing token. There's a 5% fee in, out, and transfer. That makes it a fee sharing protocol, totally permissionless, totally operating on its own. I'm looking forward, and this is why now with Eros, I have a long-term perspective. Yes, I will probably get, whenever I start to smell euphoria in the market, I'm going to start selling 3% of all of my assets, maybe every other day, or 3% every other day or every third, depending on how euphoric it is. Like at the beginning of euphoria, I'm going to start selling a little bit at a time, probably up to about 80% of the value of my assets. Keep probably 20% in, no matter what, if it keeps on going up or if it's a bear cycle, just to keep it in, probably in LP, right? So yeah, I'm going to keep on educating. Maybe not at this consistency. We'll see. Because what was important for me was to put myself in a position where I could do it with my life and not have it disrupt my life. That's why I'm doing it outside near my carving. Because like half of my days, other than parenting and personal life, half of my days is for art and crypto, and half of my days is for clients. Right, literally half and half. And I've created now it sort of melds together when I can do work and crypto and art all together. And I used to work inside. Now I'm like, no, I'm going to create an outside office where I can do it all. I don't waste any time now. Now I can go, that's an hour. I can go from my art to crypto to clients. I was going to say one more thing. Oh, yes, this idea of educating and helping people to make good decisions about how to dollar cost average in at the bottom of a market, which is where we are now. We're at the bottom of like the alts are at bottoms, right? 95 to 99% down, except for the ones that are front running the bull run, like the ones that I'm talking about. pDAI has recovered from really almost zero, right? Bear is coming back. Eros, we've taken off the bottom, man. It's no longer on the bottom. 8 out of 10 weeks, green. Ouroboros, outperforming all the competition. And there's no place I'd rather be. The rain is coming. One of my puppies, Kobe, is right here. He's coming close because it's raining and thunder. I got to get in. All right, peace out. I'm actually right now going to help a friend get open his Pulse Chain wallet. He's got Hex and Pulse on Pulse Chain. He's never been in his Pulse Chain side of his wallet. All right, peace out, y'all.